This is Papa Smurf. You're listening to Our Lifestyle, the podcast, with ODB and the Mayor.
Yo, this is Rob Margie, and you're listening to Our Lifestyle podcast.
Yo, as we get started, we want to thank our title sponsor, Scrapin' the Coast. You can visit scrapinthecoast.com for more information. Their next event, 22nd annual, is going to be the last weekend in June. They haven't yet announced it for 2024, but rest assured we will be out there. One of the biggest, baddest shows in the country. Get ready for more information coming soon on Scrapin' the Coast. Tap on the hashtag #ScrapinTheCoast for more information. We appreciate the continued support of Custom Car Show Productions. Yo, it's Our Lifestyle Podcast, episode 350, if you can believe that.
350?
First, I thought Miggity Mike the Mayor called out sick again, but then I saw him pop up on the screen at the last. Dude, you were almost late by like a millisecond.
Millisecond? Bro, I would never be late for ODB. This is like an absolute honor to be on here with you.
Come on.
To see your smiling face, bro. That beard, the king of podcast beards.
No.
I mean, come on. Who else has got the beard like ODB?
Dude, Ryan from AccuAir, which we got to talk about that. Or
yeah, but he's not on a podcast.
Wait, Ryan. Okay, sorry, I messed up. Ryan's at Airlift. So I'm messing that up. So you guys know where I'm going.
Our boy
with
Max
this.
Dooley's at AccuAir, though.
That's where I was going. Going.
Yeah.
So this episode, again, we want to give a huge shout out to our title sponsor, Scrapin' the Coast. If you're listening on a podcast app, thank you. Complete it out. That's awesome. Then if you can go on YouTube and stream it, it's going to help us out there. We really appreciate the support from our title sponsor, Scrapin' the Coast. Mike, on this episode, I did some audio with Glenn Brown, so we're going to run that, and then hopefully we'll link up with the Ruben, a.k.a. the Booka, Ruben Arteaga. Reason being is I think he's been on like a lot of the Milestone episodes that end with like a 5-0, 150, 250. Can you believe this is 350 now?
Oh, I believe it, bro. We've been doing this damn, fucking pedal stomp, baby. It's been a long fucking road, long road.
Oh yeah.
And and everything is because of you, my man. You've been the mastermind behind this deal. So hey, props, hats off to you, my friend.
Definitely appreciate it. Listen, episode overview is brought to you by our family at Hammered Weekend Wear. Mike knows a little something about Hammered Weekend Wear. They need to get the t-shirt subscription if they still can. But if not, Mike, they can get the banners, the hoodies, the zip-ups, of course the t-shirts and tanks. HAMMERD weekendwear.com, hammeredweekendwear.com. But Mike, before we get going, I do want to give a huge shout out to our kinfolk at the freaking weekend.
Yes.
We know Trip is getting a little crazy with these awesome social media posts. Mm-hmm. And listen, although our title sponsor is Scrapin' the Coast, we're going to be in Biloxi for June. I think it's in September, technically, we're going to be gallivanting back to Biloxi.
Yes, we are. And this time, we're going to be a little bit farther down. We're going to be right on the water because the show is right on the water. I mean, it is there at the casino. Shoot, now I forgot the name of the casino. The Harris Casino.
Harris. Yep.
And so you get your room. Make sure you book your room. You walk out of the Harris. There's the pool right there. And right across the street, there's this big open field, and that's where the show's at. Like I said, right on the water. You got the Blind Tiger restaurant right there. But, man, he's going to have plenty of food vendors. He's going to have plenty of regular vendors, the clothing brands, the car parts, you name it. It's going to be there. Hey, just like the show, it's going to be a freaking weekend, baby. And the after party, Saturday night, the bikini contest there at the Harris, at the pool, it is off the chain. And not only do they do bikini contest, but they get the big fellas involved too, because they do the damn belly flop contest. And dude, we had a blast last year, and I look forward to going back and doing it all again this year.
There is a rumor that the mullet hat that I'm ordering for Mike, that you were going to wear it for that weekend, right?
I thought it was a must, and I thought it was a part of our OLP attire that weekend.
It is, and I'll let Scotty the Body tell you about the banana hammock he's ordering. So I said, look, I just can't even go there, dude.
Well, Scotty the Body, hats off, tip to the cap, as ODB would say. His truck is on the artwork, and they just released the artwork, and wow, it came out amazing. And so definitely can't wait to pick up that show shirt as well.
Between him and Joel Crookshank, these guys got to be paying someone to be able to get on all these shirts. I mean, come on, man. No, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm just kidding.
I mean, every time I turn around, their truck is there. So yeah, I mean, they must be spending a small fortune.
So hear us out. Scraping the Coast. You're gonna see more posts from them, the team behind Custom Car Show Productions.
They just
scraping.
released their new banner as well. Or I'm sorry, their flyer.
Yep.
So I mean, dude, that single cab Chevy on there is all painted up, and it's freaking beautiful. So, but
it looks
man,
good.
Every single year, guys, there's 1,500 vehicles, usually more. They're at Scraping the Coast. And guys, don't miss out on the Freon poisoning there. That's where you're going to find OLP always set up inside. And I actually just talked to Lauren the other day and, made sure our spot was good to go. We're always set up right there by Sean Rose. And, dude, I can't wait. It's always a good time in Biloxi. DJ Mays, we always go out Thursday, do a little go-kart racing, barbecue eating. And we always go see our boy Greg Miller and pay our respects there on Thursday, and then it's off and ready and running show-wise Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, this is how I remember it. June 21st through the 23rd of this year, so that third weekend in September is Scraping the Coast. 3 months later, pretty much the same weekend, is the Freakin' with an IN weekend show, and that is the 20th through the 22nd. So, again, June, if you could make it, our title sponsor, Scraping the Coast. 3 months later, about 90 days later, the Freakin' weekend. So we want to give them a huge shout out. But Mike, listen, in just a minute, we're going to talk about Eastbound Get Down. But I just wanted to ask you kind of real quick, generally, I know you've been busy. You kind of got back from, we had the holidays. You guys ramped up quick. And again, we'll talk about EBGD in a moment. But you seem like you're back in the swing of things, man. Everything's running on all 8 cylinders.
Well, actually, I think I'm down a cylinder right now, so it's about 7.
4 something.
No, actually, my truck, on my way back from Eastbound, my actual full-size truck, the check engine light came on, and so I gotta go take that to the dealership tomorrow. So I can't wait to get that bill.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that's gonna cost me an arm and a leg, but hey, it's all good. Anyways. Yes, no, everything is good. Life is good, man. Busy as always. But at the same time, hey, you know what I'm getting ready for? Because I do believe it's not this weekend, but I think I think we got 2 more weeks. I think there's a little bowling in our future.
Yep, the bowling tournament is coming up, and you got to remember
that alley, man.
Yeah, Dragon the Alley, and you have to remember that the crew that puts this on, I went last year and had an absolute blast. I think one of the big things that people forget is that, this is not a show. This is more of a cruise-in, and this is a fantastic...
It's a show and shine. It's a show and shine. Because they do like a top 10, and I say it's Aftermath Car and Truck Club. They put it on, and they host the event. And there are, I believe it's a top 10, and then we got quite a few best ofs. And of course, but the Mac Daddy trophy of them all is, guys, if you don't know, this Dragging the Alley is a bowling tournament. Okay, it is a club versus club, and basically the club that bowls the highest score wins the bowling tournament and wins the bowling ball, the trophy. And this thing has been passed around. More
times than Hank's girlfriend. On a Friday night.
On a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And if I'm not mistaken, was it local minis last year, or was it hardcore, or was it who won it last year? I don't remember.
I want to say it was out of control. Wasn't it Jameel and those guys?
See, that's what I'm trying to remember. If it was,
they're going to be ticked. We don't remember.
I don't remember who.
Dude, I saw you last year. You had some drinks in you, man. So you were feeling good.
Well, hey, that's the thing, guys. This bowling alley is awesome because, man, it's huge. Number one, huge parking lot, plenty of space out there for the vehicles. Then you come inside, they got the big game room, tons of arcades for all the kids, and they have a massive bar inside there.
Love it.
Full liquor, the whole night. In the rear, in the front, or just the front or the rear? Which one?
Well, remember Jordan from RA Florida, he had on his truck, it was Lick, Liq, Lick Her Bar. Is that what you were saying? Lick Her?
Yeah. Liquor bar. Yeah. And so full liquor, great food, just a really cool place. And, the Aftermath guys. And so what is that? February 2nd, I believe, Jay?
It is February 3rd, Saturday. It's at Boardwalk Bowl in Orlando. It starts at 1, the roll-in, and then 3 o'clock is bowling start. And last I heard, it's $100 a lane. It covers 5 bowlers. You can reach out to Aftermath Florida on Instagram. It's probably going to be the best way, I think.
Yes. Just get in his DMs. It's Christian.
Yeah, it goes down in the DM.
Yeah. He's down in the DMs. He's down with the DMs. And but yes, guys, get signed up, secure your lane, and let's get bowling, bro. It's a club versus club, and let's go see who's got the best bowlers out there.
Oh, yeah. General updates brought to you by our kinfolk at Lone Star Throwdown. We would highly encourage you. Biggest, baddest truck show in the country, LoneStarThrowdown.com. At the time of this recording, only, I can't believe this, 29 days. It is sold out from a registration perspective. However, you gallivant on down, and you're able to get a wristband that gets you in 3 days. Go see the vendors. Go buy a shirt from Lone Star Throwdown. Come see OLP. There's lifted, lowered cars, trucks, mostly trucks. I'll keep myself honest on that. But Mike,
well, that's funny you say that because it's funny, guys. Airhead Nation, ODB is driving this year, and ODB is bringing a surprise to LST.
Yeah, I might be. I'm bringing a dash. I got to sell back to someone out there, don't I?
Oh, that's right. It was a dash. My bad. I thought you were bringing like an actual, surprise.
Totally tubular.
I thought maybe, like bada bing.
Dude, never disrespect the Bing, but, you can never say never. 10 years ago it was there. Parked with
Has it already been 10 years?
Parked with the club in 2014, which was awesome. And a lot of people may not remember this. I got to park. I know Zarati at the time was giving me props, but I was giving him props because the Tacoma, which was, I think, Taco Supreme. I always get those names mixed up. His taco was just on the verge, like he was like on like day 100 in a row working on it. The guy's an animal.
With
dude.
Sour cream or without sour cream?
Dude, you know what? We're having tacos in a few minutes, and I can smell them.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go sour cream.
Hey, it's not Taco Tuesday though, Jay. What's the deal?
Dude, it's way back Wednesday, and when I was a kid, and my mom put those taco shells in the oven to heat them up. Yeah. Dude, I was like Scooby-Doo floating through the air.
What is that, like El Paso?
Dude, bro, my man, dude.
I was right?
You did, yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I was going to say, man. So, big ups. I was going back and forth on the trivia this week, and I figured I'm going to go easy on you this week, because we're trying to get your tick marks back up. Okay. But this is an easy one. I got one question for you, Mike. Are you ready?
I'm ready to get it wrong.
So listen, just name the first. All you got to do is name 3 80s TV shows. This is an easy one.
80s?
Yep.
Shit, but I don't remember if they're in the 80s or not.
Well, that's where you're probably going to nosedive straight in the ground.
For example, Three's Company. Was Three's Company in the 80s?
I'm going to give you the credit for the 80s, yes.
Okay, so the Michael J. Fox. Okay, different strokes.
Yep, that is. Now, Three's Company was 76 to 84, but again, that's still an 80s show.
Okay, so what about Different Strokes?
Yeah.
Hey, Willis.
Yep.
Okay.
That's 80s all the way. I think that one was.
What about Dukes of Hazzard? Was that 80s?
Yes, I'm going to say all 3, and I'm going to give you the points because I'm looking up Different Strokes was 78 to 86, but I mean, let's be honest. It had Charlotte Rae in it, Edna Garrett, and remember what other show she played in?
Ooh, that's the sister you're referring to.
I think so, but remember when Drake said, I'm chefing up like Mrs. Fields? I think he was talking about Mrs. Fields was in, damn, I'm drawing a blank now.
Oh my God, does ODB not know
No,
something?
no. What was the show with the 5 girls on it from the 80s?
The 5 girls.
Man, I'm burying myself here.
Yeah, you are. The 5 girls. Charlie's Angels?
No, that was 3.
Oh, my bad.
Hold on, I'm messing up here.
Yeah, you are. I can't
Mrs.
believe this.
Fields,
This is a first. This is a first. This is a first in OLP history.
Oh, the Facts of Life. Sorry, the Facts of Life, and it wasn't
the
Mrs.
Facts of
Fields. I
Life.
forget her name on there, but I'm slipping up here. I'm trying to get this video stuff down. I'm trying to take tick marks from Mike. I mean, hey guys, I'm over here pulling the puppet strings. This stuff ain't easy, man.
Podcasting ain't easy, dog.
Trivia with Mike is brought to you by Graphics Mafia, GRAPHIX Mafia.com if you need stickers or decals. Mike, I want to end it with the scene updates because I know you got a roll, but listen, there's not a bigger scene update for us to talk about this episode than EBGD, one of the biggest and baddest shows on the Eastern Seaboard. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Like you say that, but flat out, I am one of the promoters, the owner, all that stuff. It is by far not the biggest show. But I can tell you this right now, guys. We had a great freaking time this year. The weather was absolutely gorgeous. It was not freezing. But at the same time, nobody was sweating and nobody was hot. So, boom, hats off for that. But at the same time, the atmosphere, the people, man, we had the venue, everything. That show is phenomenal. The venue is great, guys. The Friday night pre-party over there at Saints and Sinners, DJ Mays up on the stage playing the music. We had the cornhole tournament going, and man, it was just an absolute blast. That place was packed. The bar manager there, she absolutely loves our event, loves our people. Man, our boy Mark from Atlantic City Truck Meet, man, he was buying everybody drinks. Tony from TTP, he was out there buying everybody drinks. It was a contest on who can buy the most drinks for everybody. Dude, it was just an absolute blast. I love the fact that you can stay right on property. The restaurants are right there. The Colts pig stand, the barbecue. Man, hats off to NC. They had 72 members actually go in and eat there that night. They took care of all those guys. Right after they were done, Aftermath Club came in and they ate there. And the lady just called us back and was thanking us for all the people that came through the restaurant and supported the restaurant. Joe over at Hooligans, the sports bar that's right there on property. Man, he loves our people. He loves our event. They packed the place out Friday night, packed the place out Saturday night. So, I mean, everybody, the feedback that we've gotten, the manager, Kevin, from the Clarion Hotel that's right on property, it's just the hotel was sold out. Everybody, there was no problems, no issues. It was just a great time. And our people, they deal with a lot of these biker events there. So when our event comes in, they love us, man. They absolutely love us. They can't wait to have us back. And guys, make plans for next year, 2025, to come back out and be out there with us, because we are gonna it's gonna be Martin Luther King weekend once again out there at Destination Daytona. Look us up. You'll start seeing. And hats off to Damian Davis. Hats off to ODB. All the videos that you guys have popped up and put out there into the social media land. I mean, the show was just, it went off without a hitch, man. We had absolutely no problems, and it was great, man. Our trophies this year, I mean, hands down, some of the best we've had. Gooch producing, Daniel Smith with Smith Works, Gooch with Gooch Customs. Everybody knows Gooch. And Tank, Fat Tanks, did our club award. And I can't forget Thad Cunningham with the OLP award.
And the Mini Truckin Magazine award.
Truckin Magazine award. And so, I mean, we had tons of awards.
And I want to say this, thanks to hashtag Mini Movement, James also came down with his son, Anakin.
Yep.
Their award was created by our good friends at Welch's Chop Shop.
Yes, and Welch is actually made. And guys, we actually have a stereo portion to our show as well. And that's the other cool concept to our show is we have our car and truck show, and then the stereo show is there as well. It's just far enough to where you guys can walk to it, go enjoy it, no problem. But at the same time, they can go out there and they can do their thing, and then nobody says anything to them. Nobody's bothered by it. And then if you want to go out and enjoy it, and I definitely got to give props to our presenting sponsor, Big Jeff Audio, because, man, he had everybody bling-blinging with all those gold chains, gold glasses all weekend long. And if you guys have seen the pictures, you've seen the videos, you've seen everybody walking around. So, guys, if y'all need anything audio, BigJeffAudio.com is the guy to go check out. Because, man, those guys were there. AccuWare, Eastbound Get Down's powered by AccuWare. And so
Stingray Chevrolet. There were guys over there cutting deals on LS engines, dude, for Mazdas. I go, dude, Mike, you're losing out, bro. You go buy an engine.
Hey, believe me, man, we are working on it, man. Lowrider Depot came all the way from Mass this year and was there and was set up. And
Drop 'em where was out there. Driven. Harvey was out there. What about the ODB rig that was in Driven's booth, the old, dirty bastard?
Yes, it was. And I tell you what, Sarah Honeycutt, that's hers, and her husband, Ryan, of course, or I'm sorry, Chad, built it, and she drives it. They drive that thing everywhere. They drove it all the way out to SEMA. I mean, they drive it everywhere. So that thing is definitely built to drive, and they drive it. And so, yes, I actually just spent the weekend with those guys. They were down here in Immokalee at the casino for the Rockabilly show over here in Immokalee.
Awesome.
So I just was out there with those guys. So, but yeah,
That's
man,
cool.
we had a great time. And like you said the biggest, best, whatever. We had so many people complimenting this weekend as far as this is one of their becoming one of their favorite shows.
That's good.
In Florida. And that felt good. It felt good that people said that and that they really enjoyed themselves. And that's what we want. We want a show guys can come to, have a good time, and enjoy that venue.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great venue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could tap on Instagram on the hashtag Eastbound Get Down, which is a longer one, or EBGD. We try to do both of those. A couple things I want to point out. I want to thank you and the staff, Kim, Shannon, Big John, of course, John Lopez, and yourself. Sophie Circle, it was such a great feeling. I started a little video that we had posted, and, over $6,000. You had folks...
Actually, Jay, the final total for those guys was $8,129. Or
wow.
I'm sorry, $8,125.
Amazing. Tip of the cap.
We did the auction, the Decks for Dogs. And hats off to all those artists. But then on Sunday we turned around and we auctioned off the cooler. NC Negative Camber won the club cooler, and then they turned around and gave it back, and we donated we turned around and auctioned it off. And actually, it was kind of funny because Mark from Atlantic Truck City Truck Meet, I think he was up to $900 and something. And then me and John looked at each other and we're like, we're not letting that fucker take it back, Mr. Money. So me and John actually split it $500 a piece, $1,000, and we kept the cooler. So
yeah. And I tell you, I know DJ Mays and other with Relaxing in the Park, they've done similar stuff where, and then we've seen the Spark Show with the Pops and things. But it's so refreshing to see you guys right there go, man, you bring them up on stage and like they feel like $1 million, and it's a great thing. The ladies get behind it, so many people. So I want to thank you for that. I think the venue in general was fantastic. There's just a big open space, and I'll tell you this, like even on Saturday night, I didn't hang out at Saints and Sinners as long on Saturday. I did for a while, but it was cool. We went back to the main covered area. There's new lighting underneath there. We hung out. I got to hang out with Jay, some of my Severed brothers, and just kind of shoot the crap. Of course, I had my phone right there. I popped on 5G, watched a little bit of the unfortunately the Miami Chiefs game a little bit. Miami went down, but it was just a great time. And it's very affordable. I know a lot of times people are like, they're concerned with the show prices and stuff. To me, you've got the option if you want the VIP parking, and if you don't, it's no problem. But to me, seeing a show go off without a hitch, it's really a testament to you and some of the staff that you have. And also all of the merch, it like flew off the shelf.
Yeah, we sold. The funniest part about it is, and I don't know how I did this, but I ended up with 9 3X shirts left.
I know, right? You're like
3X. It's like, how did I even order that? I don't know. But anyways, we got 9 3X shirts. If anybody needs a 9 3X, or I'm sorry, a 3X shirt, we have 9 of them left.
Yeah, and at After Dark, the remix, which is coming up here in a couple weeks, we're going to have the OLP booth set up. Mike will have any of that leftover. I think there's a couple of skate decks that you may still have.
We're going to have some skate decks, and we're going to have some, we'll actually have some hats, and we'll have the shirts. But the shirts are the main thing. The shirts are that's the amount, that's the thing that we spend the most money on. Shirts. So we only had 9 left. So believe me, I am not complaining about that.
Oh, yeah. And if you can come out, many of you are going to be at After Dark. Come buy a shirt, buy a sticker, do something. We just need to get a couple of bucks so we can make it to Scraping because to Lone Star.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you this, when we did that doggy style merch, which by the way, everyone is available on our website, we did our biggest order ever because the more you pre-sale, the more you could say, you know what, let's ratchet it up another 50 or 60 shirts. So we had one of our biggest pre-sales ever. And that was a huge win because we have to get ready for Lone Star. But if anybody can't make Lone Star, come to After Dark and pick up the merch because I can tell you this, we're going to hopefully come home pretty empty-handed, which we do every year. And that's a testament to people coming by and just going, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I'm going to buy some stuff. So come see us at After Dark here at Quicker Steak and Lube, which is the
February
weekend
17th, I'm pretty sure.
The weekend before LST.
I'm pretty sure it's either the 17th or the 18th.
Something like that. Yeah, it's that weekend. So
Saturday night,
come by. But yeah, I'll just say this, dude. Eastbound Get Down, EBGD, the 3rd annual, was a fantastic weekend. I loved that it snaked over to that across area. Fester was out there with the Floor Idiot stuff, and then you had, to your point, that the stereo portion was so far out there that it's not bothersome to people that aren't, quote, bass heads, So you've got a good mix of everything, and people that walked out there said, hey, it was cool. I got to experience it, and then I came back, so that was great.
And that's the whole purpose. Me and John both, when I say John Lopez is the partner, obviously, and we both love that portion of the show. But not everybody does. But that's okay. That's why we stick them out there. And they go out there, they do their thing. And I tell you what, those guys have a blast. They enjoy it because there's not many shows that they, Made of Steel is a big bass head show. And there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them out there. And so they got, 2 big shows to be able to go to be able to do their thing. And it used to be a lot more. So it's a good time for those guys to be able to get out there and do their thing.
Oh, yeah, we're going to wrap up our segment here with Mike in just a moment. I want to reinforce a couple things. There's a ton of shows, as Mike said, that have opened their pre-sale with like the freaking weekend with their merch. I know Relaxing in the Park, I think technically their pre-registration is open. So I said pre-sale, but I meant pre-reg. So what I would encourage you guys to do, many of you are on Facebook. If you're on Instagram and that show is a show that you go to, go in there and click on the notification thing, and you can turn on post notifications so that if a Relaxing in the Park posts something, you can go out there and you'll know, and then you can get in and you can normally save money by pre-registering. I mean, that's the big thing. Sure, some of the harder to get in shows are getting harder to get a registration. We get that. But there's plenty enough shows around the country for folks to be able to go to. And I think Corey's, doing the Mini Truck Showdown stuff again, so we'll talk more about that in the future. But the Scene Updates is brought to you by our family at Garage Gear Clothing. If you haven't heard, GarageGearClothing.com, they have sport trucks, mini trucks, full sizes, side-by-side. You can pick their merch up online or in person. They do have free shipping options available online, or go see them at Lone Star Throwdown, Garage Gear Clothing. Mike, I think at this point you got to run. So don't forget, you got to stay on just a moment for this to upload. I want to thank everyone for the continued support. What we're going to do here is I'll finish up a couple items. We'll roll into audio with Ruben Arteaga, a.k.a. The Booka. And then we're going to have Glenn Brown, Mike, as our title guest. And it's cool. We love the Custom Scene podcast. Glenn is a great guy.
Terminal Takeover, baby, coming soon.
Terminal Takeover coming soon. Stick with us a little while, folks. And, Mike, you stay on the rise, my brother.
Hey. Airhead Nation, we out. Stay low, baby.
Yo, so Mike had to drop. He had something going on tonight, so I'm going to finish this segment up before we get into the audio with Riggedy Ruben. the Booka. So I was thinking when I was talking to Mike, so I kind of messed that up. So if you think of the Facts of Life, and the lady's name was Mrs. Garrett. So when I went to eat the tacos, I'm going to finish this up. I was talking to my main squeeze, and I was like, I got Mrs. Fields mixed up with Mrs. Garrett. So when Drake was like chefing like Mrs. Fields, I don't know where my mind was at. But anyways, that's what goes through my mind, trying to get stuff right. But anyways, I want to, like I said, just move forward with a few things here that I'll cover. You're going to notice a reoccurring theme in 2024. I'm going to try to keep things as streamlined as possible and moving ahead, maybe some shorter episodes. I hinted on episode 349. 349 was not shorter. Totally understand that, but much more to come. So next we got Hut 1, Hut 2, Hut 3, Hut, Old Dirty Ballard live and uncut. And I want to remind you, if you can, leave us a rating. Most of you are on iPhones. The best thing you can do is go into the pre-installed podcasts app, which is purple icon, select OLP, and then leave a rating. Tap the 5 stars. It helps us. If you're on Spotify or a different platform, certainly most of those you can leave a rating. I know Spotify you can. I leave ratings for a lot of the true crime stuff I listen to, so or any of the podcasts I do. But please leave us a rating, and it helps us out. I don't have a lot to cover with ODB Live and Uncut, except for the positive message that I'll share with you. Recently, I went to a funeral last weekend for my aunt. It was like my great aunt, but we just called her Aunt Johnny. And, she lived a long, awesome life. I mean, she was well into her 80s. I think she was born in 1937. And, she just was an awesome person. But when we went to the funeral, I obviously talked with some of the family members we hadn't seen in a while, really some of them since the last funeral we went to. And, the reoccurring theme there was, man, we got to get together. Wow, we're all getting older. Someone's got to, get us together, once a month at someone's house, and, we just go, and whoever can make it can make it. That's something that many of you will hear, whether it's a high school reunion or it's a family reunion that's once in a blue moon, or in this case, unfortunately, a funeral. My feedback to everybody is going to continue to be the same message, like get out there, do what makes you happy, but also spend time with your loved ones that, you appreciate. If you've got a relationship that you need to, you feel like you need to rekindle or you need to patch up some things, certainly I encourage people to do that. I've tried to be a better person and do that with maybe situations I didn't see eye to eye with, or maybe examples where I was wrong. And whether, in my mind I was wrong, or other people were like, hey, you were wrong for, what you did, or maybe you didn't realize it. Trying to patch those things up has been a big thing. But I certainly, my Aunt Johnny, she was kind of like the fabric of our family. She never had issues with anybody. She always kind of kept everybody in contact and things like that, and I loved her for that. But, certainly when I think if someone passes away and you have a relationship that you feel like you could have fixed something, or, man, if I just would have had one more day, or I should have buried the beef with so-and-so. I mean, I just think that's important. Certainly, as I've always said, you don't have to be best friends with that person. There's people in the truck scene that maybe the Hatfields and McCoys, and they may never patch things up. But certainly when someone passes away or someone becomes terminally ill or sick, I think a lot of times people just go, wow, you know what? At the end of the day, was it really that big a deal? And a great example of that I'm going to tell you is, I know this one might sound funny, but if you think about NWA, when they broke up, and Cube leaves, well, Dre leaves, and then Cube eventually leaves, there was that big feud. All of you guys know I'm a big Dr. Dre fan. Think about the feud between Eazy-E and Dr. Dre, on record, saying some pretty crazy stuff, right? And Dre and Snoop just Eazy, and, Eazy comes back with his EP that he drops and, says a lot of stuff, and puts out photos of Dre, in the sequins and all that stuff. But, even though they went through all that, and us as fans say like, oh, wow, yeah, this and that, and, this is a cool track, and, F them. at the end of the day, when Eazy-E was dying, who was there? Dr. Dre went to see him, you know? And again, not to be morbid, I just think that stuff is important. So that's my message this week. ODB Live and Uncut, brought to you by our family at Colorado Custom Wheels. Shout out to Michael and team. If you need wheels, look no further than Colorado Custom. And when I say wheels, I also mean steering wheels. They make it all. If you need something maybe that you're not sure if they make, like a rear view mirror or whatever, hit them up. Certainly give them the heads up what you're looking for. They're great people. If you see them on Instagram, the Colorado Custom, they're certainly doing a lot of cool stuff. They're doing the floater center caps now for the Lincoln wheels, which I'm sure that's going to pretty much end up with a lot of their different wheels. So they're doing some cool stuff. ColoradoCustom.com. I'd like to also go into a quick update here. So I hadn't talked to Mike about this, but I'm just going to make the executive decision. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I like the Airhead Nation naming convention. I think it's a cool thing. You know, we'll probably still have stickers for a while, but I'm going to rebrand it to the Airhead Nation's now going to be the Mini Truckin Syndicate. So I know some people go, oh, you know, such and such. Well, I'm looking right here. I've got an Ice-T newspaper headline that I kept from probably 1991 when Body Count album came out. I've been an Ice-T fan for a long time, and I've always loved the word syndicate. The few people in our scene that have used that word, shout out to them. I think is, you know, with Rhyme Syndicate, what he did was always cool. And the other syndicates that come to mind are shout out to Syndicate Compacts and Minis. You know, they always say Syndicate Fool. You also have Air Syndicate. You know, shout out to Craig Frazier. He's been on this podcast several times. So a lot of good people out there. What I wanted to do is, you know, I've been doing the minis on the rise, and that's not going to stop. I mean, I love that thing that we live by. You know, minis are on the rise. Whether you say, hey, Mini Truckin', well, how's it on the rise? It's been, you know, it's been around, but if you think about the trajectory of Mini Truckin', it's a lot of us, you're going to hear when I talk to Glenn, a lot of us are getting older. You're seeing just a resurgence of all this stuff. So certainly I wanted to rebrand the Airhead Nation to like Mini Truckin' Syndicate because it just kind of falls in line with kind of where I want to go with some things. And you're going to see the Full Size on the Rise page I have, that also rebranded to Full Size Syndicate. So again, I know there's a few brands out there. I'm certainly not trying to you know, really do anything with merchandise or anything at this point other than stickers. But I just want to kind of build something there that's separate. And I think Ronnie and team have done a great job. If you think about C10 Talk, they have the C10 Nation. You know, and a lot of people in different genres use, that's a cool naming convention. You know, you put Nation on the end of it. A lot of guys use, you know, it's crazy. Mafia is used a ton, like, you know, Suburban Mafia, and you know, there's all kinds of cool things. And then there's gang. A lot of people use that word. I never would have thought, you know, such and such gang, Niners gang, all this stuff. So everybody's kind of got their thing, but that's where I'm at. I'm going to see where I can kind of maybe take it. And you know, if you want to follow us, Mini Truckin' Syndicate, it's with an IN, Mini Truckin' Syndicate, and then Full Size Syndicate. And just trying to get some more stuff out there. So we'll see where it goes. Like I said. So there's that, and I wanted to cover a couple other updates. Shout out to Robert Simmons. We saw him at Eastbound Get Down. Robert, I believe, did a deck again this year, which Mike and I talked a little bit about the decks, but Robert Simmons, great dude. He and I talked. Good people. His wife, Roxy, shout out to them. They were on about a year ago when Robert turned 50. Oh, by the way, another trip around the sun, so congratulations. And he just turned 51, so I wanted to give him a huge shout-out. This I wanted to share. Kurt Hall says on January 16th. Now, Kurt was on the OLP very early in our existence. And he said, I just want my family on here to know that my brother Mark Hall passed away just now after a battle with cancer. And certainly rest in peace to him. He says my mom and dad were able to talk to him this morning after he took a turn for the worst, and I was able to message his wife at 5:45 to tell him we loved him, and she did let him know, and he took his last breath after 6 that day. So again, it's tough. There's a lot of people out there with, if you think you're having a bad day, there's a lot of people out there that are having far worse situations health-wise or whatever it may be. So certainly, do your best to count your blessings. Here's a positive. Robbie Williams, first day of sales meeting and already blown away. It's hard to keep my emotions in check because not only does this apply to my work life, I feel like this was part of my life. I was down bad and not happy in life, but my friends, family, and club mates helped me get my swagger back thanks to everyone that has supported me. He says thanks to Jennifer for giving him confidence and Dizzy for making me believe in myself. So I think that's pretty cool, man. Shout out to Dizzy for, so many of us, you'll see people comment on Facebook, hey, if you need something, if you need to talk, reach out to me. And I think that's an important thing that we all got to do to our friends. Robbie also posted after that and said, wow, what a wild couple of days. I was straight blown away last night when I was called for my third President's Club Award. Then to top it off, Roanoke District won District of the Year in the Eastern Division. So shout out Robbie Williams, great dude. I think he said Static Drop Nationals may not happen this year, but more to come on that. And I would ask that you guys go support him. Many of you are friends, and let him know he's a good dude. Jason Bell says happy born day. Well, he says happy birthday to my beautiful wife. He hopes that she has a great day. 23 birthdays with her, so congratulations. Beautiful family, Jay Bell. Good dude. I'd do anything for this guy. He does so much for the scene, and I know Southeast Mini Truckin Nationals, that's a huge monster for him to do all of that work, but he's got great staff. We love the venue. We love the city, and we'll be there, of course, later in April for the 30th annual. And I know some people have commented here and there. Mini Nats did start in 90, so if you do the math, you're like, wait a minute. But I believe if we go back in history, there were a few years, the changeovers and stuff. That's why technically, for those scoring at home, that was an 80s reference, by the way. I think for some of the TV shows, you could score at home. But for those that are scoring at home, it is technically the 30th anniversary. Ron Perkins says 24 has been jam-packed with an amazing weekend. He clocked 1,456 miles. He was able to go to the 49ers game, which broke my heart, by the way. Congrats to the 49ers. I text Chris Mall at CNS Metalworks. The Packers exceeded all expectations, but really they were in a position to win that game. I hate that they didn't. He did an Alcatraz tour. He got to see DJ Quick, and he got to go across the Golden Gate Bridge. He took a photo and posted it. So good stuff. Ron's out there living his life, having fun, and I know he loves to travel, so big ups to the homie. One thing I forgot to share earlier was Andy Green, Andy's Ford F100. Amazing truck. I've talked about it a little bit, I think, in the past, but he was able to finish it not too long ago. I saw it at Turkey Rod Run. But he got best of show truck at Eastbound Get Down. So I know Mike and I, our audio, we kind of had to get through it a little quicker. I would have loved to kind of go down some more of the, the great conversations I had with people there. I really, really, really enjoyed Eastbound Get Down. A lot of good people, a lot of club, mingling and stuff like that. And I just love seeing it. So big ups to the kinfolk. So with that being said, let me see here where I'm at. Airhead Nation, also known now as Mini Truckin Syndicate. Are you part of the syndicate? I guess is where I'm going with this. Are you part of the syndicate? You will be soon. The Mini Truckin Syndicate updates are brought to you by our kinfolk at Local Rides Mag. Now, Local Rides Mag is a magazine, a print magazine, and you can go to Local Rides, RIDEZ. So it's Local Rides Magazine, but the only difference in the spelling is it has a Z instead of an S on rides. LocalRidesMagazine.com, and you can go out there and you can purchase issues for as low as about $9. They've got a 1-year subscription, and they put out a very, very good product, very dedicated people to the scene. And if you want to buy some of the back issues, you certainly can. But if you want to support the cause, get out there and cop a subscription. Big ups to the kinfolk at Local Rides with the Z magazine. let's see. And then lastly, the podcast updates. Number one, I started to say this earlier. Leave a rating for us. So I forget if I mentioned that. I think I did. But leave a rating on the podcast app. It helps us. All of the Doggy Style merchandise. So I say Doggy Style. That was our homage merch that came out basically 30 years to the day. That Doggy Style, the famous G-Funk Dr. Dre produced album with Snoop Doggy Dogg, his debut album 30 years ago that dropped. What we did is we aligned our recent merch drop with that, with that historic date, milestone rather. And you could go to ourlifestylepodcast.com or click the link in our Instagram bio, and you could buy merch. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are anticipating this selling out at Lone Star Throwdown. We've sold a ton already, but we had to go very, very heavy on this order, knowing that we were going to get ready for LST. So if you want to get in, again, After Dark, the Remix show in Clearwater, Florida, the weekend before Lone Star Throwdown, that's going to be your best bet if you want to come out. You can save. You won't have to pay on the shipping. And if you pay cash, cash is king. So you've got that in there, in the works. And then lastly, for the podcast updates, OLP Honors. So we did our honor show recently, and I want to thank Welch's Chop Shop for the support with doing, we ramped up, we did a couple extra awards. This stuff is not free. We pay for it with our own money, much of what comes back in from many of you making a purchase. And certainly we have about $300 this year in awards that we had produced, which is going to include our Doggy Style homage merch. It's going to have that logo on it. So these are one-off awards. Certainly this year you're going to see we've even ramped it up a little bit to make them even more custom. So again, this is what we do to give back. There's no obligation that we have to do this other than we love the scene. Certainly I'll speak for myself and say I do. So I say all that to say thank you to Welch's Chop Shop. Good people. If you need awards for your show or you're in a bind, hit up Welch's with an S, Chop Shop. Certainly get with him and let him know. The earlier the better. And they're good folks. Go see him at Mini Nats. He's got a ton of cool stuff they sell. Him and his dad are good, hardworking American kinfolk. So I certainly appreciate them. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things, but I'm trying to keep things a little bit more streamlined, and I'm seeing my segment here is already going into almost 20 minutes, which I wanted to go less than that. So without further ado, thank you for all the support. Stay on the rise, and please stream this all the way through if you can on our YouTube channel. There's two versions. There's going to be an audio version that's always going to batch over, and then there's going to be a version of the video version. Please watch the video version. Take care, everyone. We got you. Ruben's calling me right now. Can you hear it? Right on time. Hey, like I said just a second ago, my phone was ringing, and I said if Ruben Arteaga was a train, like my dad would say, he'd be right on time.
Hey, Jay, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, brother. I was gonna I'm gonna share something real quick, and then I want to link up with you. But check this out. I want to give you the proper introduction that you're owed, because you've been on, I think, every episode that ends in 50, so starting with 50.
I've been blessed, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Dude, we become good friends, and check this out.
Nice.
So I want to give you a shout-out. There's Ruben Arteaga, the Mini Truck Hall of Fame, standing right next to Shartsis and Hollowell, Mrs. Hollowell.
Yep.
And then let's not forget, not the cover of Mini Truckin', but also the Beltec ad, and then there's a behind the scenes. A lot of guys, Ruben, don't have the behind the scenes photos of their shoot.
I you know what? I just happen to have just a point and click, disposable camera that day.
Yeah, and how cool is that? I love like the history of like where the stuff was done, so that's cool. And then I had to just right before we got on, you saw me, I was pulling this one down. Let's not forget, this was technically, it wasn't the last issue, but it was the last truck issue, because I think they did like a model issue, the last one, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, but
Something
that was
like that.
actual, and that was the only cover that was actually shot with a live model on set. Usually they would Photoshop everything.
Yep. Yeah, dude. You don't still have her number. You could send me, do you? Just
You know
kidding.
what? I might.
Yeah, I do. Now, this is the C1500 because I want you guys to know Ruben Arteaga, we've said this before, C1500 nonsense on Instagram. That's Ruben. And Mark, the other day when you posted his Tahoe, he texts me and goes, "Yo, Jay, I can't keep up with all the Instagrams. Whose was that again?" I go, "Ruben." And he goes, "Yo, tell Ruben good looking out."
Yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, I actually messaged him. We messaged back and forth a little bit.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
he's the big
thanked
homie, dude, and he's real deal, Mark. I appreciate you as a friend, and I tell you, it was so good having him on. But yeah, I mean, people. I told him, I said, Ruben's good. He's always looking for good content, and that color of that Tahoe, though, man.
Oh, dude, that Tahoe's hot. That
Yep.
is a nice truck.
Oh yeah. Now this truck, though, I wanted everyone to know. I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but this is the one you still have, the stepper.
Yeah, I still have that. I had that pretty much in a million pieces sitting at Chris's, and the motor's out of it. The cab's got to get cut for the body drop. But it's as soon as I find time, that we're gonna start working back on it.
Oh, yeah, and I wanted to point this out. Rest in peace, Sean Carlson. I knew that you knew Sean. I did not. But when I was looking at this the other day for something, of course, this mentioned you also got credit in here because you provided one of these photos in here, which was cool, and I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do. I do that center picture right there on the bottom of the right underneath of the bottom. I took that. Yeah, I
Yep.
remember taking that. Yeah.
Yep, and rest in peace. And one of the things that you and I always talk about is that there's so many good people that we've lost, and certainly when you linked us up with Trevor, that was one of my favorite episodes, and I get goosebumps just thinking about it because like I've tried to tell people in my post, I never knew Sean, but I knew, like, it was crazy back then. Even when we talked to, you'll remember Eric Cryan when we had him on recently with his Toyota, and he talked about how there's a little bit of the lineage from Sean's 4Runner, and that was a truck that a lot of us heard about here. And it's crazy that, all these years later, we're still doing this thing we call mini trucking. And we've lost a lot of good people, but one of the things I always want to do is kind of keep those legacies alive, as you know.
Right. We might have lost them, but we sure haven't forgotten about them.
Yep, that's for sure. Well, let me just start here and just ask you. I want to check in with you, man. How are things going for you?
Oh man, things are good. Things are busy. Christmas is over. New Year's is over. Thank God.
Yeah.
Back to work as usual. Life is good. Life is really good for me right now.
Good. I'm hoping to. I want to come out to the Raddies event again this year if I can in September. And I know last time we didn't get a chance to hang out as much, but there's so many cool things that have happened. Like, you remember we talked about the new bridge that was built over there. Was it the 6th Street Bridge? I can't remember the name.
6th Street Bridge, yeah.
And it's crazy how much news has happened there from a pop culture standpoint, because I know Adam the Woo and German in Venice. He goes over there a lot. But you saw all the stuff, like when they first shut it down, then they had the guy that climbed up the bridge and he fell. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, no, I heard about that. I even want to say I saw a video on that.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I was just over there this past Saturday, and we didn't go over the bridge or anything, but I was around the corner from it.
Yep.
And it's still, I've been through there 2:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday night, and
it's nuts,
late
right?
on a Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And I mean, there's always people on there. There's always something going on over there.
Yeah, and one of the things that I thought was kind of crazy was some of the videos I thought of recently. I know California is crazy, but German in Venice was showing where people went in there, and I guess they stole. They tried to say they stole the copper,
Yeah,
but they had tore the light stuff out of there, and I was like, man, dude, it's getting crazy.
dude, that's been going on here for years, where people are going and stealing copper out of, whether it's new construction, old construction, bridges.
Yeah.
This was a while back. There was a guy that broke into a electrical vault on the side of one of the freeways, and his wife was in the truck waiting for him, and she saw him get electrocuted. I mean, there's the amount of nonsense or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that people are willing to do to make a buck, dude. We got people here calling their cars stealing catalytic converters.
I know that was a big thing, and that came over here. And I don't know if you had. I was telling my boss because they had to start parking our county vehicles in locked facilities. And there was some news. I read a story a couple months back where I guess it went all down the one family. There was one like hierarchy family. I think they were in California, and it was a father-son ring that spread all across the United States. And I believe the article that I read said that a lot of that has been shut down. But I mean, to your point, there's always going to be some of that still going on.
Yeah, there's always something. I mean, and people are pretty brave to do this stuff in broad daylight. A friend of mine that works at a grocery store here.
Yep.
Her co-workers' catalytic converters got stolen midday, like during the week, in front of everyone, and no one saw it.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we've heard of this stuff in San Francisco. I mean, if anybody ever travels there, you cannot leave your book bag or your anything in your car. And it's to the point, I think we talked about this before, where people are leaving the rear hatch open. Because what they do is they come up with a little gimmick deal and they break the little corner glasses, and they could put their arm in, and then they pull the thing to check behind the seat. And if they see something, boom, they unlock the door, and then they steal the book bag, MacBooks, whatever you have.
Yeah, no, I've heard that of people leaving their cars open, unlocked, and stuff, just so people.
Yeah, because imagine having a rental car and then you don't get insurance, then you're really screwed.
Right.
So I couldn't imagine, but you know, I want to give a huge shout out to Chris Burns at CNS Metalworks. We always talk about it. You know, you work with Chris, and you know, Chris is a good guy. If anybody needs Universal products or AccuAir, you can call Chris. You can look him up on Instagram, CNS Metalworks, and you can call him airbags, you name it. But you guys have had a lot of cool stuff going on. We talked about the 59, you know, and then the ice cream truck and things like that. But what have you kind of gotten your hands on lately? Is it C10s or more kind of classic cars?
We're working on a 3100 for a customer. Actually, we got 2 cars of his right now, and
nice.
This 3100, I know there's YouTube videos on it. The thing was cut in the middle and stretched, and it's on a SSR chassis with a 6-liter LS and 4L80E and whatnot. And we just got done bagging it. We're putting the finishing touches on that. And we have another car of his. We have a Thunderbird, like a mid-60s Thunderbird.
Okay.
That we're just going over and fixing a bunch of stuff on the air and management side of it. Gotcha.
Now, I know how much you hate Lincolns because you worked on one recently. I'd like to remind everyone the Thunderbird was the sister car to the Lincoln, and it was also built in Wixom, Michigan, and they were built like side by side almost there. So if you start cussing about the Lincolns, Ruben, I'm just going to give you a heads up. The T-Birds may tick you off too.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I've had a couple of those Lincoln moments on this Thunderbird, buddy. And yeah, right. They are a different animal.
Oh yeah. Now, when you think about 2024, and we're talking with Ruben Arteaga from C1500 Nonsense. You can see, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see his Toyota that he built in the past. When you think about what you got going on for the rest of this year, I know we've talked a little bit about some of the things you want to maybe do, but what are you most looking forward to in 2024, Ruben?
Man, glad that 2023 is gone. I'll tell you that for now. But now we got some plans. I got some traveling plans that I'm going to do later on this year. I'm going to go to Mexico and, of course, a couple of trips to Vegas and here and there. But just honestly, just looking forward to what the new year brings. And so far, so good.
Good. I want to give a shout out to Jeff at Mini Garage. As you know, I got to link up with him last night. He got me this Goonies hat because he's from Oregon. And, Jeff is a good guy. I would encourage people to check out his Mini Garage YouTube channel. And, Jeff and I were talking about health and stuff. And I know over the course of time, you've kind of told me a lot of the things that you've been through. And we always talk about here on the podcast, trying to do the best you can with your health and stuff. But, as we get a little bit older, you have any advice for some of the Airhead Nation, which now I'm referring to as the Mini Truckin' Syndicate, just on maybe what we call the preventive maintenance, dude?
You know what? I've learned if something's not right and you don't feel good, go see a doctor. It's a drag. You got to take a day off work, and the last thing you want to do is go sit in an office somewhere. But you know what? Go see a doctor. I had a couple of issues back a few months back, and I'm better now. But I've learned in the past that I don't feel good. Usually something's going on, and go see a doctor.
Yeah, I think that's important words because at the time of this recording, tomorrow would have been my dad's born day, and he was born I can't believe 70 years ago. He passed when he was 63, and Maddie's grandfather, he's in his mid 90s. He still drives around and he still does the things he wants. And I often think about, like, if someone passes when they're 60, sometimes there's nothing you can do, but let's just say hypothetically you could do some preventive maintenance, and maybe you don't have a heart attack at 60 and you live till you're 85, right? That's 25 more years. That's a long time. And again, you and I both know none of us can fully control everything. Ice-T always says it, tomorrow, someone could bang into you, and or in a car or whatever. You don't want that stuff to happen. But I think the preventive maintenance to me is such a big thing. As many of us are in our 40s and 50s, it's like, just do those things, because if it can prolong your time with your family and your friends and your life here, I think it's a win-win.
No doubt. And you know what? And a happy birthday to your father.
Thanks, man.
And you're welcome. And no one can make you do anything but yourself, whether it's quitting drinking, smoking, or whatever, or weight, whatever it is. I mean, everyone around you could tell you until you get pissed off and don't want to be around anyone. But until you put that mindset that, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm really going to do this, then yeah, you'll be able to. But we're all getting older, and you know what? It's a lot tougher. It's a lot tougher once you get older.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's great advice. And I just think that it's good that we have this platform, and some people are going to listen to it, and and there's some people that go, hey man, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I always tell people, hey, do what's best for you and your family. And I think what I've learned is, like even drinking or doing, whatever people do, or eating, certain things or whatever, to me, what I've learned is, like, moderation is the key. Although I haven't been drinking now for over a year, I question, do I even need to go back to it, And I look at it and say, even if people don't want to go cold turkey on something, I totally get it. But I think moderation is like a key that I've learned, whether it's spending money, which I need to get better at, not spending as much, in terms of, just blowing money on stupid stuff, or, eating certain things. It's just moderation.
Right. And you know what? You know if you're going a little bit overboard on something. I mean, you're the first person to sense it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to admit it, but you deep down inside, I'm going a little crazy with this. I got to back off.
My dad used to always say, every man should know his limits, whether it's alcohol or money or, I mean, help. There's people that have gambling problems, that's not something I can associate with.
Right.
I get Hank, like he'll give me like 100 scratchers to hang out with me, but a scratcher here and there, that's not gambling for me.
Right. It's not. It's not like if you were hitting it every day that you're on your way home or you're going to the liquor store for, a scratcher and whatever else, but.
Yeah, because Hank's hit you up before, I think, when he was, his house was like, he was talking about mortgaging the house because he had a hot hand at the dog track. And I was like, look, man, like, dude, you don't want to go like Homer Simpson did in The Simpsons when he had to bet on Santa's Little Helper. You know what I mean?
He's probably been there.
Right, he has. The cool thing is, I think there's going to be more information coming about the Mini Truck Hall of Fame. I know, for those that watch the live stream with the West Coast Influence, on their YouTube or their Facebook page last year, or anybody that was there like Ruben and I, you guys heard Bob Hayes was going to, step down, and I know he's got some health challenges going on, and, we are saying our prayers for Bob. He's a great guy, as you know. He's been around forever, and, I'm just excited, outside of what he's got going on with, whatever the committee can do in the future, because I know, Ruben, as I mentioned at the beginning, you're in the Mini Truck Hall of Fame. Relaxed Atmosphere is in the Mini Truck Hall of Fame as well. And I think, like, one of the good things, how I feel about this is, I want to get the right people in, the people that really put the time in. There's so many good people, and sure, like, how do you not water it down? But let's get the right people and let's give them their flowers while they're here.
No, for sure. And there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people off the top of my head, and we've had these conversations that I think their names need to be brought up, and I think some of them need to be inducted. And and I'll be honest with you, it was kind of a sad thing to see Bob kind of bow out and not want to do this anymore. But you know what? I get it. I get it, and it's hard work. It's a lot of work, but also too, I think this also gives the Hall of Fame a chance to grow.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that that I wanted to point out as well, and I'm going to pull this up here. Again, Bob Hayes, we wish him the best. I know he has shared with Radar and I that he had some things going on, and I think he puts a lot of it on Facebook. He was talking about daily updates and things like that. But for those that didn't know, I had told Bob Hayes that I was going to promote this for him as much as I could. But Ruben, as you know, he did decide to bring back resolutions, which is, now hear me out, guys. This is going to be a little bit ways down the road. We're talking December 31st of 2026. So, this is 2024. Next year's 2025. We're talking the end of 2026 into 2027. And Ruben, my understanding is what Bob explained to me is he's bringing the 50th back because it's going to mark the anniversary of the first one.
Right. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
So we wish him the best. And again, for anybody that's following Bob Hayes on Facebook, I know his wife has posted some stuff. Today, at the time of this recording, I think it was technically last week, he had his surgery. So, we're wishing the best for him. But how's everything else going in general? You been good, Ruben?
Oh, dude, I've been great. Like I said, Christmas always kind of throws me for a loop. I'm not not a Christmas person whatsoever. And but it was nice. Had a really good time with my family and my girlfriend, and New Year's was a blast. We got out and kind of painted the town red a little, and but everything is good, man. The work is steady. I got more work than I need.
Good.
Always staying busy, and everything's great here at home. So I can't complain.
Well, from number 50 to 150 to 250, I would have never imagined years ago we'd be on episode 350. It's always cool to link up, and I would tell people again, many of you are following C1500 Nonsense. He's a good dude. Follow Ruben there. He's got his individual page as well, but then also Chris at CNS Metalworks on Instagram. If you need universal air products, AccuAir, bags, fittings, you always say it, Ruben, they can hit up Chris Burns.
Yeah, hit up Chris. Send him a message on Instagram. That's where you'll catch us on Instagram. And whether you need advice on something or parts, give him a call.
Hank Norris taught him that it goes down in the DM, right?
It sure does.
I just hope Jen's not listening. Jen, we were talking about part sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those DMs will get you in trouble.
Well, listen, we want to thank everybody for listening this far into the show. We do have our title guest Glenn Brown is up next, but I want to thank the kinfolk at Mini Truckin Nationals, aka Mini Nats. We're going to be out there the third week in April in Maggie Valley. If you are anywhere near there or want to fly in, please do so. Buy some show merchandise, get a wristband, come in for the weekend. Shout out to Mini Truckin Nats. Ruben, thank you so much for the time, my friend, and stay on the rise.
No, thank you, and congratulations, you and Mike, on this milestone and having me on so many times. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ruben. Hey, I'm so excited to sit down with the big homie Glenn. He's been on his list a while. This interview is brought to you by our family over at AccuAir. They were at Eastbound Get Down, and a huge shout out to AccuAir. Visit their website for more plug-and-play applications for your air suspension needs. Now, I can assure you, Glenn, can you give me a quick... I know you got your phone down charging, but people want to make sure this is not artificial intelligence, right? You are there.
No. This is all me. I'm shocked that I'm on a real podcast, man. This is something new, man. I can't wait to call Dizzy and tell him, hey, man, I'm on a real podcast.
Man, you guys are killing me. I want to talk about the Custom Scene podcast. You can see now, I know some of you are going to be watching this on YouTube, and you're like, man, is Glenn there? Glenn is there, SAG, sexy-ass Glenn, and he's charging his phone, so we don't want to be kind of holding it and flipping it around. Remember, this video stuff is new for us, so bear with us. But, Glenn, for those that don't listen to the Custom Scene podcast or maybe haven't experienced it, talk to us, give us a little bit of background on who is Glenn Brown.
Well, to keep it clean, I've started back. Man, I'm old. I'm an old school guy, old fella. I've been around the mini trucking scene since mid '80s, and it's a lifestyle, man, and I love it. It's funny how I run into people that I went to high school with, and they're still, they're like, "Oh my God, you're still in that mini trucking thing," and I'm like, "Y'all gotta understand it's a lifestyle. I love it. I've been around, man. I've been to shows that have come and gone, and just seeing different things come and then leave and then come back again. And, I'm here, I love it. We decided to start the Custom Scene podcast. And that's with my buddy, my partner, Dizzy Don Davis. And everyone knows, Dizzy and the things that he does. And we just kind of bounce back and forth off of each other, having fun, going to these shows and meeting people and meeting people in the scene and, just coming up with different things to keep you laughing and having fun.
Oh, yeah. And I appreciated that about you or other folks. A lot of times we'll hear people say, hey, if this hobby isn't fun anymore, or any hobby isn't fun anymore, that's when it's time to throw the towel in. And I think like there's folks out there like you, like some of my mindset. It used to be, I want to go to a show, I want to set up my car. Now I like going to a show and maybe doing an interview with someone or having you on as a guest for me to get to know more about you because, we, like you said, we've been doing this a long time. You've been doing it longer than I have, so I want to get into that. Now, for those that are watching us on YouTube, you can take a look. We got a photo here of Glenn in front of Trash Bag, the awesome Mazda. I love that thing, and you guys are always having a good time. But talk to us. You kind of gave a little bit of insight to like you've been doing this a long time. Like circa, I don't want you to date yourself, sorry, but like when I posted some old Myrtle Beach stuff, right, from Truckin magazine, you chimed in. Like, are you talking like mid to late 80s you really got invested in this thing?
Yeah, dude. So I think that was Mini Beach Madness that you had posted up. And that was, in Myrtle Beach. Pretty much to start it off, I still talk to the fella. Guy's name is Brian Martin. He was the one who got me started into the whole, mini trucking scene. We were at high school. I was a junior and just about to get my license. And I remember just walking to the parking lot, and it was him and two other fellas was him and another guy had trucks. And then the third guy had, of all things, a Chevy Vega that had a targa top that he cut and just kind of just left the top open. I don't even think he put a top back on it.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian's truck was the old, square body S10, but had the ground effects. It was static drop, had the old saw blade rims on it with the spinners, had a shell. It was cut convertible, had a tilt bed, but then also the hood tilted forward, was a diamond tilt because it tilted to the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Had this airbrushing where it was blue drips all the way around it. And then on the hood, it had a picture of the truck where a wave was kind of going over it.
Oh, yeah.
And man, that was just, I don't know what it was, man. I was just totally blown away by it. And I remember walking around it, and he was just genuine, telling me everything about it. So, my first vehicle I got was a little Mitsubishi truck. So he was the first person, I went to talk to, and he had got me going with static drop in mine and ground effects. And next thing you know, I'm in this club. While I was petitioning for the first club I've ever been in was called Low Illusions. And the best thing I remember about that was we all had these matching satin jackets with the logo.
Ooh, yeah.
It was pretty much, it was etched in, it wasn't like a silk press, it was actually like, everything was etched in. And man, when I got that jacket, man, I think I wore that damn thing to bed because I was just so excited about having that damn jacket. But yeah, I mean, that was 86. And yeah, I mean, I've been a part of it ever since.
Wow.
It was one point we ended up, I think I left it. It was getting where it wasn't fun. We were all as a group, and we should do things together, but some internal things was going on. So then I ended up starting another club with guys I went to school with, and that was Smooth Style. And we took it up far. I mean, we still meet to this day. We just had I think our 30-year reunion, and the club isn't around, but we all still talk, and we all still, it's weird because even our children are all hanging out together, and it's just it's funny, you know, to see, you know, our children hanging and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we back then we threw a show. It was called what was it, Slamathon. We had Joe Grease fly into Charleston, and it was in the Mini Truckin magazine. And man, it was again, you know, a lifestyle. We all, you know, just hang out. We talk about our rides. That was when we used to go to Nopi Nationals when it was in Atlanta at the Lakewood Exhibition Center. That was big for us. And then Godfather's Customs. That was a big show that we would go to, you know. And then that's when I forget the guys that used to throw it, but it was a Whitley show. And I think it was two brothers that would travel everywhere and throw shows, you know, anywhere that they could.
Yeah, rest in peace, Greg Miller. Greg told me a lot about the Whitley shows and the history and how that tied into the Bill Cox shows. I know you'll probably know that name.
Yes, Bill Cox, yes. And that, again, you know, that was the time in our area. You know, we stayed in the Georgia, Tennessee, because we also used to go to, it was in Lebanon. What was it?
Well, there were Sport Truck Nationals. That was in Kentucky. I don't remember Slammin' and Jammin'.
Yes, Slammin' and Jammin'. That was that's what we went to in Lebanon. You had Booger Bash in Charlotte.
Never got to go to that, but I heard it was fun.
Oh man, I can tell you stories, you know. And we kind of stayed in that little circle. I mean, there was one time we drove up to Carlisle for that show, Truckin' Nationals in Carlisle, PA.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that was for a while. And then you had our boys come up with Freak Show, and that was crazy, you know. But then they started their shows, and we were hitting all of their shows that they were doing around. And yeah, I mean, I took a time off around 2000. Had my kids. We kind of, you know, chilled out for a little bit. We actually moved to Pennsylvania.
Wow.
But I think I was back into it in 2006, bought a Suburban and ended up bagging that, and kind of just did my thing with different vehicles from Suburban. I had a little car that I decided to do hydraulics and was street hopping that for a little bit. I mean, every vehicle I've had at some point has had some type of suspension altering to it.
Hell yeah. That's what it's about. And it's cool because you really, to step back a minute, you really kind of brought me back when you start talking about the different wheels and those things. And that's the cool thing about, you know, although we may not have a time machine, I saw someone comment on something I was looking into the other day. Or actually, I think I was watching like an old car commercial on YouTube. You know, these guys will unearth these, and some of the comments were like, you know, we may not have a time machine, but we have, you know, these memories, and you know, some of these car commercials people haven't seen in, you know, 50 years, 60 years. But like, you're bringing me back, you know, to that era. You know, even it predates me a little bit as well, which I think is cool. But you know, you said something key there, in my opinion, that a lot of us, although like maybe we were in a club and we got out or whatever, you know, Lord willing, if the people haven't passed on, the people a lot of times are still there. And what I learned many years ago is a lot of people stay in or around the area. Not everyone, but a lot of people end up staying or living in the area that they grew up in. So that allows for you to kind of keep those relationships and still sync up and do all that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I loved about with Smooth Style that we do is when we had our get-togethers and meetings, we would still have pictures of our, you know, members that have passed. We have a table with all their pictures on it, and, you know, like a candle.
Oh, wow.
And just so we all, kind of still stay together and we still keep everyone to remember, because we have some of the younger guys that came in and didn't really know the old school people that started.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
We were working at McDonald's and, it had our vehicles sitting out there. I mean, it was a thing that we all grew up together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, we still keep in contact. Obviously we love Facebook because you can still keep in contact. And there's a couple of us that are far away, but, they still either make it a point to get to the meetings that we have or, our get together, or we'll have them on FaceTime on phone that night where, you just kind of pass the phone around. Hey, we haven't seen you, in forever type of thing. And yeah, man, it's great, and coming to, getting a little bit older and then being able to have a vehicle that was brought into, one of the big three, as we say. And now I'm having friends, all over the world is big to me. I love to be able to talk to people around the world, and knowing that I could go into pretty much any state and meet up with a club member and have lunch and just kind of shoot the shit and laugh about the same things, and I think that is just, the top of, the progression that I've gone to from our neighborhood club to where we are now.
Yeah, very well said. And if you think about, salute to you guys and the ladies in Relaxed Atmosphere, started a year before Severed and NC, which we started in 99 too, or as Dre says, 9 Deuce. Of course, RA predates another year. So like in 2021, you guys had this big event celebrating the 30th. And I think it's a testament to the members, the people, the enthusiasts in the scene that are still in this stuff. So I think it's super cool. But I wanted to get your perspective on this. Like, when we chatted the other day, we talked a little bit about how ironic it is that all of the 80s and 90s stuff has kind of come full force, and you could call it a midlife crisis. Maybe we're all just getting to the era where they're like, okay, we can sell this stuff. These guys are buying it. These ladies are buying it. But I think it's so cool that, if you think back to like the Chicago Bulls era in the 90s and the sneaker culture, a lot of the throwback stuff is still super huge. Even the music, we saw... I think it was Bruno Mars and Cardi B a few years ago. They did that track that reminded me of the opening to In Living Color, right? So talk to us a little bit about how, because you follow the stuff like I do. I mean, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, man. Everyone has their niche. And if it's, toys, shoes,
yes.
BMX bikes, everyone had, and again, that's what we love about social media, where everyone, you have your page and
yep.
Like we were talking about the guy that has the, I think, 80s garage.
Right.
I love watching the things that he posts up that he has, because either I'm like, man, I remember having that and thinking, what the hell did I do with it?
Right.
And, just to see, I really wasn't into the sneakers, but, I'm a toy nerd.
Yep.
And I love looking at, people that have like a full room. Like it is a full room full of, Transformers. And I'm sitting there wondering, like, dude, are you married? Because the first thing you think of is 40-year-old version, and
right.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I have my own, you might as well say man cave, but to have all of those Transformers and those toys, because mine are put up, but to have them out in display, I think is awesome. But I know, like, my wife would just look at me like I'm crazy, So yeah, but I love it. Like I was talking to the BMX guy that it looked like he just moved to Texas. But
Sean.
Yeah, I've been looking for. I've been looking still for the Huffy Sigma, which is white and gray that has like the disc over the wheels.
And I think he has one.
Man, he had two of them, but he sold one, and I didn't get there in time to actually know that he had it and stuff like that, because when I came in, he had already gotten rid of it. But dude, like that brought me back so much, because even nowadays, you have kids and stuff. Our kids stay in the house playing games and crap. We were out on that bike. If that bike had some type of meter to tell you how many miles I put on it, it would be ridiculous. You know, because I was everywhere with it, and I still can't remember how and why I got rid of mine. Yeah. But man, I loved it. You know, just to see his stuff that he has, and to see everyone else has, you know, their thing. You know, there's a guy that has a bunch of G.I. Joe stuff. Like I love watching his stuff. It's nice to see that at our age, we're still able to go back and collect them. You know, and still be able to hold on to them. And I
absolutely.
I know when people say it's kind of a midlife crisis and stuff, I always look at that as someone going, you know, our age going out buying a, you know, Corvette or, you know, a high speed car that, you know, our big asses really can't fit in anymore. That I look at as a midlife crisis. But when I'm buying these toys and stuff, these are just things that made us happy back then, and we're just collecting them, you know, just to keep for keepsake. You know, I know some might trade them, some might sell them, but you know, I see certain things that I remember playing with growing up, and I'm like, man, I've got to have that. You know, and it's like real quick, I got all of the, if you remember, the original laser tag.
Yes.
That.
Wow.
So I went off all crazy with the original little vest, the little red thing that you put on the chest, the gun, and I just purchased from a guy the helmet with the little red light on the top.
Right.
Yeah, my wife is looking at me like, what the hell is that stuff? The scary part is she was born in 86, so she didn't really get to experience a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm explaining it to her, and I'm showing her the videos, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like, my neighborhood was a laser tag neighborhood. That Christmas, we all got them. And when it got a little dark, we would pick someone's yard, and we would be just running through their backyard, shooting at each other for hours. You know, back when it was fun to hang out, you know?
Yeah, and in that era, I remember I didn't have laser tag. I think my neighbors had gotten it, but that was around the era of Gotcha. They had the little paintball things that came out, and I remember I'm drawing a blank on it. The pogo ball thing people were standing on, and you know, it was that era. And to me, it's super cool that there's people that collect a lot of the magazine vintage ads and things like that, and it's crazy to me. I had found, when I was on Twitter a good bit, I had found a guy on there that was it was called like Consumerism was his account, and dude, Glenn, he collected like McDonald's like cups and like the unused fry things, and it was like they had like all this promotional material. And what blows my mind, whatever people are into, how like dedicated people can be at the craft or the hobby or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's funny, like you said with that. So my mother was like a manager for McDonald's for years before she switched over to Taco Bell. And she had all of those old school glasses that had all the characters on it from the 70s and 80s. And I used to always tell her, don't do anything with them because I want them. And either I was going to hold on to them, or I saw like some of them went for some pretty good money
on,
you know,
eBay and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, you know, and I'm sitting there and you know, like always, my mother doesn't listen, and she literally took them to a Goodwill and dropped them all off. And I was, man. But yeah, just collecting all of those old school stuff. Like I had ran into a guy that kept the old Toys R Us. Remember right before Christmas when Toys R Us put out that ad, man, I had so many of those ads that I would have to circle for Santa. You know, you got to mark which ones you want for Santa. Man, that was, again, you know, that looking at those, just it brought you back. And it's crazy how, you know, now, you know, they don't have that. You know, obviously Toys R Us isn't really around, but you know, I hate that my kids didn't get to relive that, to be able to sit there and mark off the magazine and go through it and like, man, I don't know which one I want, you know. And it's a little, you know, disheartening, but you know, that's the way it is now with the life and how our things are going. But I love it.
Yeah, and you can relive so much stuff through YouTube. There's a channel, I want to say this is the right channel. It's called Secret. I think he changed the name of it. I think the YouTube channel is called Secret Galaxy. It used to be called Toy Galaxy, I think. But like, he does the amount of in-depth review that he'll do on like a G.I. Joe franchise or one single toy line. And I'm like, the amount of digging and journalism that goes into, quoting and who created it and all that, it blows my mind. The other thing I wanted to say was, like, I remember the feeling of going in Toys R Us. We had one in Tampa. I didn't get to go to it very often, but that was a cool feeling. But this will bring you back. When we were younger, I don't know how we would get them, if they would come in the mail, but you remember the Sears catalogs?
oh, bro, yeah. My mother
Dude.
got them all, and then it was all. I mean, okay, look, from the Sears catalog was it great for a boy because we would in the section of looking at all the toys and stuff and marking yes. But then you would go to the women's section, you get to see women in their bras and all that stuff. Like that was our time, man. That was the closest to nudity that we got to.
Dude, Hank Norris loved that, I heard, dude. That he used to shoot all that stuff. But dude, here was the crazy thing. What I used to, and there's people that collect that stuff, like you said, there's Instagram pages they'll flip through around the holidays. Oh, look, I got the 1987. But I used to think to myself, like, how cool would it have been to have the job where, if you look back at some of the old G.I. Joe commercials and you see, like, the two kids playing, and of course it would always say, like, play set not included, because it was like they had this cool, like, stage that they were playing all the toys on, and I'm thinking, that ain't my backyard. But it was. Exactly. I always loved the photos they would take of, like, the helicopter and all that stuff, and I always thought to myself, like, that would have been a cool job to have.
Oh yeah, completely. Like, even with me collecting my G.I. Joe, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I collected it up until my freshman year in high school.
Boom!
And I remember
it.
I had it all set up in my room, and I would have the helicopter hanging from the ceiling because I have it on string, and I had the USS Flag in the corner, and I had all my and it was my freshman year. I'll never forget my buddy that I was in Smooth Style with. He looked at me and he was just like, dude, you are never going to get laid until you get rid of all these things. And I'm like, I can't get rid of these, man. Like, what do you mean? And he's just like, dude, you got to put it up. Like, no girl's going to come in here and do anything with you. So that was, my freshman year. I remember that summer coming into freshman, I was like having to put all of that stuff up, and it broke my heart.
Yeah, it's weird how if you look back at the stages of your life, I mean, I can remember mine. It was like when I was really young and I was riding a bike, and then, you get to the teenage years, and I was like, I wanted a Bulls hat, and I wanted, a new jersey, and then, it was like I got rid of I had a little 80s scooter, and then that was gone, the bike was gone, then it was like a car, and then you go through those phases, and I look back, and I kept a lot of stuff, but some of the G.I. Joe stuff, most of it I had as a kid, I did end up selling. A lot of my Joes were broken and whatnot. I think we talked about that the other day, but it does bring back such great memories, and I'll tell you, like, I love that Hasbro has really, just embraced the fact that, like, I've got a couple items I bought here after the 25th. They still released them at Target and stuff, the little green Jeep and things like that. But I think that's so cool because if you think about it, it's kind of like printing money. They do a lot of those through the HasLab or whatever it's called, where they got to crowdsource it or crowdfund it till it gets to like 200 sales or 2,000 or whatever that number is. But to me, I think that's super cool because it allows for people like us to go buy. Like I so wanted to buy a couple years ago the All Striker. They put that back out.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, I should buy this. I'm like, man, I'm out of room because I collect so much stuff. So, but again, I think to me, to sum it up in my mind, it's like we're living in a great time because a lot of our childhood stuff was so epic that they go, hey, we're going to reproduce it.
Oh, yeah, dude. And my favorite part also is even when I'm at a store and I'm looking at the stuff, there would be a guy to come up, and I don't know him. We've never met before.
Sure.
And next thing you know is him and I are talking about all, of whatever toy that we're looking at. Did you check this out? And again, that is where it brings us together, and someone that I would never, probably never talk to in my life. And here we are. We're almost like best friends talking about these toys. And yeah, man, I am happy and just overwhelmed to the fact of being an 80s baby. Like we went through some stuff, man, and I love it. I would never change a thing.
The TV shows and all that stuff. I mean, I know I always joke with Mike, he hasn't watched a lot of stuff, but like, dude, when I was a kid, I got to say this. So Hardcastle and McCormick was this like 80s show that ran for 3 years. And I loved it as a kid. I think because, you think about, we had Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, A-Team, and then you have the Hardcastle and McCormick, and it was like the Coyote car. And it was like, man, as a kid, oh, that's so cool, And I've been going back and rewatching and my wife's like, man, what is this? She's like, you're probably the only person. And then I was looking up the filming locations, and I'm like, oh, man, no wonder this house was so cool. It was, it was owned by so-and-so, and then they rented it out to the movie stuff. But I love that we can relive all that, because people forget that in the 80s, if you didn't have a VCR and you didn't record something, dude, it is mind-blowing when I sit down at my TV and it's like, we've got YouTube TV, we've got like every streaming service. Unfortunately, we're one of those people that forget to cancel it, but we're using all those. And then her father gave us access to one of the apps. It's called Friendly, but it's like without an I. It's like all these old shows, and here I am watching like Alfred Hitchcock things and all this stuff, and I'm like, it's just so crazy that everything is literally like just a click away.
Yeah, no, growing up, you missed it. And you're right. If you didn't have a VCR, they didn't have what we called reruns,
right.
You didn't have that, so it was like you had to be home to either watch it or record it. Because I tell you, growing up, I was determined my ass was going to be the next person flying Airwolf. That was my thing.
I love that show. Yeah, and dude, like one of my guilty pleasures when I was a kid, dude, I don't know what it was, dude. I love that MacGyver show, bro. I never talked about that, but like as a kid, I thought it was like so cool, all the stuff he's doing. Now you kind of watch it, you're like, okay, it's corny, but
right.
It's still it's 80s corny. And I went down the bunny trail one time. I was looking for something, and in one of the episodes, MacGyver had Air Jordan 5s on, dude. And I sent it to one of these guys I follow, and he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, that's known in the sneaker community, And I'm like, it's just pop culture stuff. It's crazy. But
yep.
I know we could chat a lot on this topic, but I wanted to kind of move on and talk a little bit about, talk to us about, I'm hearing some buzz about Terminal Takeover. So what is it? When's it going down?
All right. So, first of all, I don't know what I was thinking when someone said, hey, let's throw a show. And I'm like, yeah. For the people listening that have not, there's a lot involved. This is not my first go around, but this is my first go around by myself. And so I decided I'm here in Greenville, South Carolina. It's just kind of one of those things where I ran into the venue, talked to the people, and was like, man, this would be a cool place to throw a show. So March 22nd, which is a Friday, and March 23rd, Saturday. The show was actually Saturday. Friday is just our pre-party. I'm going to have John Malloy there slinging his barbecue like he always does. Having a little auction, just kind of a hangout type of thing. But what's cool is I thought, why not something a little different? We are actually going to be at an airport, downtown Greenville Airport, on the tarmac.
Awesome.
So during that day, the airport is open and planes will still be landing and taking off. Wow. And you will be a rock throw from it. The thing that I like about it is they cater to it. They have a huge kids playground that is right next to the tarmac. So kids get to, watch, and that's their thing. But it's set up completely to be family orientated. We have a nice place that will serve us food. It's called a Runway Cafe. They're between them and John Malloy that Saturday. It's going to be great. We start at 8:00. Everyone's going to be coming in. Just the space that I have. This is my first show, so I have not literally been able to get cars onto the tarmac to kind of guess to see how many I can.
Understood.
So I guessed it around 250. So I'm going to stop it at 250. Now, maybe next year, I'm sure we'll be able to have more because the airport committee, they're so excited about us coming.
Cool.
But they want to make sure, everything's cool. But he said that like next year, we can open up to a lot more, which means, I'll have 3 or 4 more airplane hangars to where I can have people park in an airplane hangar. Just
Very
more space.
Cool.
But, this one is just, it's the first year. trying to see how things can go. I try to do something a little bit different where we're staying with the airplane experience. You'll get your ticket that looks just like an airplane ticket. We're giving the first pre-orders, the pre-registration that ended the first of the year. We're sending them a little gift to just one, say thank you, but then also just to show people again, we're staying kind of to the airplane theme of it. And hopefully, just kind of continue, that aspect. With it being the 23rd kind of sucks because, there's going to be so many other shows going on, at that time. So, we're going to miss some. So next year, we're going to move it to the first week in March. So I can still be able to go to the other shows that will be going on during that same weekend.
Yeah, I hear you. So when we had talked earlier in the week, it was like, I think it's OBI, Forbidden Fantasy, and Alter Metal is all that same weekend. And, you put this event together, and maybe you didn't have the flexibility that you're maybe going to have for next year. But what I would tell people is if you Google Terminal Takeover Car Show or Truck Show, you're going to land on a couple of pages. I landed on, when I was doing some research, like allevents.in. And it kind of basically, shows that just general events, but then it links over to the terminaltakeover.bigcartel website, I believe.
Yes, that's the website that we have for you to register, which now I have it where you can still register now because, like I said, only 250. So if you register now, that definitely, secures your spot on the tarmac. So if we get to the 250 before the day of the show, then I won't have any, day of the show entries because we're going to be all booked up.
Yep. And I like to, that I would tell any potential folks that if you're listening to this and you could try to go out and support Glenn and his fam, that I think it was $5 spectator fee, but then you're going to have the barbecue, the whole plate price, which, is more than fair because with the low entry fee, keep me honest, that's going to help someone go, hey, okay, kids were free. I'm $5 to get in. Now I can go get me a plate of food.
Right. Well, now the plate of food, that's just Friday.
That's just Friday, and it's $20.
Just $20 Friday. That covers all. It's barbecue.
Oh, I got it.
Beans, your coleslaw, your drink, your dessert. And I'm sure we're going to have extra. So I'm sure people are going to be able to go back and have extra.
Right.
This was more of just to kind of get a count of, people going to be there that want to eat. And plus, I wanted to have everyone experience the Carolina style of barbecue, not that North Carolina with that crap. You're getting that sauce. You're getting the sauce. That's what we want you to understand. And not the Memphis either. This is Carolina stuff. So that's my main thing, is to let you experience the Carolina feel.
I like it. And like I said, folks, you can go terminaltakeover.bigcartel.com. That'll land you right on the main site. There's the T-shirt prices. There is the day of show registration and separate barbecue plate dinner. So it's kind of cool that I'm a big proponent for, if someone can make the experience super easy for a showgoer. And like here, what you've got is like the day of show registration. You can click that, or you could do the pre-party barbecue plate per person, and all the prices are listed there. So it's more than fair. And I could tell you this, years ago, I would travel to Greenville. Verizon Wireless had a huge call center there. And one of the nights, a couple of the times, we went to downtown Greenville. We went to one of the baseball games. And I got to experience that whole area in the evening time at night. And, man, it was a blast. It kind of has like a hometown feel, totally different than where I'm from here in Tampa. And it was just a great experience. So I would tell people that, hey, many of you live within an hour or two or so, spread the word. If one of those other shows isn't something you were planning to go to, but you want to do something around the springtime, Terminal Takeover is an option, right, Glenn?
Oh, yes. And for you mentioning that's the other thing. So during the day, of the show, we're going to have sumo wrestling, which I have a huge wrestling belt that for the winner for that one gets to walk away with it. The only thing is you have to bring it back next year to defend your title.
Dude.
Then we also have a hot dog eating contest, which no bun, just straight dog. And, it's the battle of the stomach. And so I want that going on. But then after the show, the show's going to end at 5. We're going to be done at 5. Everyone go home, shower, do what they need to do. But then we're meeting back between 6:30 and 7 at the mall, which is right around the corner from the show and in between the show and downtown Greenville. Because once we meet there, then we're going to cruise from the mall to the downtown area that you were talking about.
Yeah,
I've got
nice.
the city is going to mark off some spots for us to park. So it'd be cool to have all the cars and trucks together right by that Greeley Bridge. And then from there, I've got one place that we all going to meet at the beginning, a little brewery. But after that, we've got everything else is in walking distance. We can go to the baseball field. We can go to, there's a couple places that are like indoor. It's all in one. So it does have the indoor golfing. It has the indoor hatchet throwing, everything. So I want to give everyone the downtown Greenville experience that Saturday night. So Sunday, when you wake up, you can either, get yourself together and go on home, but then you have an idea. So if you ever decide to come back to Greenville, you have an idea what you want to do. And also just give me a holler. I'd love to meet up with everyone coming back and we can hang out that night. But I just want to give everyone the experience of Greenville, South Carolina that we can offer to them.
Dude, I love it. And also remember, folks, this is going to be a time of year before it starts to get really warm. So especially being from the South, you can expect some beautiful weather. And, I would encourage you guys and ladies, to try to go. And even if it's something you can't do, maybe send the link to one of the club mates or people in that area to say, hey, go support the big homie Glenn. Now, Glenn, I got a couple more questions for you before we wrap it up. I got about 15 minutes. What I wanted to do is I wanted to show folks on the screen here. So we're going to move away from sexy-ass Glenn. I'm showing a photo of your full size. I love that it's a crew cab, long bed, repping the Topper gang, as our friend Jason Diener once coined, super low truck. I know we probably don't have enough time to go through all your vehicles. I'll show one other one in a moment. But this rig is pretty cool, man.
So she's named the Mummy's Revenge because once I got to that point where the picture that you showed, she just fought me on everything. Like everything else, she was just fighting me on. But to be honest, that whole scene, the truck, the graphics, everything is kind of a tribute to the Sphinx truck. That was the red Mazda.
Very cool. Yep, we can see some of it in here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the hood for sure.
Charles Armstrong, shout out to him, the big homie. He's got his lineage, his work on that truck, an amazing truck.
Correct. And the funny thing about that is the guy that did the airbrushing on this truck, on my truck, actually used to work under Charles.
Wow.
We went and talked to Charles to make sure that he gave us the okay or the thumbs up to do that. Because I didn't want to have that and then have him, be upset at us. So
right.
I wanted to make
Crossing
sure.
his arms like, what are these fools doing, man?
Exactly. So, he gave us the green light and he loved it, and my guy that did the work doesn't do any more vehicles. He does is all of the city murals for Oklahoma City and Enid. So like if you go to a high school and you see like their the mural on the side of the wall, that's what he does. And
that's sick.
Yeah, dude. And he basically said, he goes, I'm not going to lie, like I'm almost losing money by doing vehicles because I can do a wall in 2 days, but a car could take me a week,
right?
And all that stuff. So mine was the last one. And I thanked him because I didn't think we were going to get it done. Obviously, Oklahoma from South Carolina is pretty far.
Oh, yeah.
And when we took that trip, Daryl Poe, Kelly, Stacy, all of us, when we went to Vegas, he saw and he was like, dude, you're coming back by me. Drop the truck off. If you drop the truck off, I promise, I'll have it.
Dude, that's great. Sick.
So, yeah, on our way back from Vegas, I got to swing through, drop the truck off. I was so excited. And then we went on home. And yeah, dude, he did me a solid, and
salute for that one, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy about that. And now I'm kind of changing her up a little bit. That's why she's been kind of under the knife for really a year. But just a quick thing is I got to blow her top off, man. She's the type of girl who needs to have her top off.
Dude, my buddy Hank Norris, man, he's all down for that. You know what
man,
I'm
I'm telling hey, I got those crew cut vibes.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, dude, you got there's a big fist bump right there for you,
right?
Homie, on that one. Now, we talked about Terminal Takeover. I'll post a few things about it to try to drive some awareness. So, again, everyone check that out. Do you guys have an Instagram for Terminal Takeover? Is Dizzy or anyone helping with that?
Yep, we have it. It's just Terminal _ Takeover, and that's on Instagram. We have a Facebook page that also has the event page and a regular page we've been posting, and it's just Terminal Takeover.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I'm excited for it, but I'm more excited just to make sure that everyone has a good time. And that's what I want. I want you to enjoy yourself and be able to just have some fun. Because that's every time we go to a show, Dizzy and I make it a point to have some fun with everybody and joke. So here it is our chance to entertain everyone in one place.
I love it. The last couple things. Number one, I caught you dipping right here. Everyone could see at this was at Mini Nats, of course. We also saw you at Cruising with Cruisers, right? So I've always been a fan of the big 60s cars. I'm a big Lincoln guy. Cadillacs are cool. Always loved the big body Impalas. These wagons are awesome, as you know. In the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a few bodied, graphicked up, just awesome wagons. But we saw you dipping not only at Cruising with Cruisers this past year, but also, of course, at Mini Nats, which folks can see right here.
Yeah, so we call that's the company car. So that is for Cruising with Cruisers. Dizzy and I painted it like a police car and put all of our stuff on it. And what we're doing, matter of fact, this year, everyone be prepared at the shows. If you see that police car, we're going to be writing tickets to people. When you violate a known rule in our scene, we're going to be writing out tickets, and we haven't decided yet which charity it's going to go to. I mean, it's only going to be $2 to $5. I don't want to hear anyone complain, but we're going to pick a charity. And if you know good and well, if you're at a show and you walk past and you're like, man, I'm done cleaning it and everything's great, and we look down and you haven't polished those wheels and I can run my finger through it, you are getting the ticket. And I don't
violated.
Want excuses. You're getting violated, and that's the fun part, and it's everyone has embraced it and we enjoy it, and that's look out for the company car, because we're going to be hitting a lot more shows this year with the company car.
Oh yeah, I love it. Now, listen, as we wind it down, I have to make another call in a moment, but I wanted people to know many of you support the scene and you listen to LCD podcast, Jamie at Mini Trucker Colt. But also, I want to make sure that if we picked up any new listeners or any of you guys or, maybe, hey, we listened to OLP, Glenn and Dizzy and company, they also do a podcast, The Custom Scene.
Correct. And, that we're a little bit different, but we're here to entertain you guys for sure. And I'm not going to lie, we've been kind of slack since the beginning of the year. We're kind of waiting until probably in about 2 weeks, we'll get back up, ramped up, and really start opening up again like we normally do. But yeah, we're all about the scene. We're all about anything, that we can do for our scene and for people. We post up shows, coming up. And I tell everyone, if you've got a show or anything going on, just give us a holler so we can make sure and promote it. And, anybody wants to come on and talk about, how they got into the scene or their rides or whatever, get a hold of us, because everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story, and we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I love it. I want to give a huge shout out to Don Dizzy Davis. He's a good dude. Of course, he's a partner in crime of yours, but I know he's I know. I mean, listen, at this point, if he's even still listening to OLP, I know his head's going to get blown up. But the thing that I'll say about Dizzy is, I know just like our friend DJ Mays, right? And so many of us, we've gotten involved in other aspects of the scene, not just taking a ride to a show. So a lot of us do get busy, right? And I always tell Mays, hey, listen, I know we don't always sync up. It seems like it could be several weeks or a month or two before we, get on the phone and chat. We'll join his, of course, live stream here and there. But I think one thing I've learned by talking to you today and the other day was we all have different passions. Some of us drive, our lineage, as Ronnie would say with his word, goes into like the BMX stuff, and then it kind of goes over to the mini truck world. Of course, with you've got some of the toy passion. I know Frank does as well from Aftermath. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the passion that we have for the scene, and a lot of us have grown out of just going to a show. You guys are, you're throwing the show now, and a lot of that stuff. So like my mother-in-law always said, with raising our son, it was like it takes a village, and I think I truly feel that way in the mini truck scene. It takes a little bit of part of everyone, someone coming out to go to an event, buying a registration, buying a show shirt, paying a guy to paint his ride like you did with the graphics. So, again, I just tip my cap to you. I think you're a great guy. I wanted to have you on a long time. And, I know you've been doing this a damn long time. So, salute, brother.
Listen, I appreciate it, man, because like I told you before, the content that you put out is just ridiculous, and nobody can keep up. When you were in Vegas, man, I was just like a kid in a candy store, like waiting to see what else you're going to post up, and just seeing all the fun that was going on. And again, I'm just like, damn it, why didn't I go? Type of thing, because it was great. But real quick, man, I feel like an idiot. When you mentioned it at the show, I mean, the main man himself is going to be hitting the ones and twos. I'm going to have DJ Mays at the show. I can't believe I didn't say it, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm sorry, Mays. I'm sorry. Don't get mad.
Man, he doesn't listen anyways. He hears us talk about football for 1 second, and dude.
Oh, yeah, and he dips.
Bro, we've got a bug tracker on his phone, and he stopped listening. He goes, yo, you guys don't come to all the live streams, man. I ain't listening. No, I'm just kidding. But DJ Mays is a great guy. You guys are great guys. None of us are perfect. Some of us have a little bit more time than others, and I know I obsess over some of the things I do. I just do it because I love it. I don't, I tell people I don't want the recognition, but certainly, the fist bump from you, I appreciate it. At the end of the day, there's so many good people that came before us. Hopefully there'll be a ton that come after us, not to be morbid, I think is the word. But at the end of the day, it's about, representing the scene, but doing what you love. I heard I was watching a YouTuber the other day, and she was talking about a lot of the folks that are stopping doing YouTube videos. And she made a statement that resonated with me. And it was like, she said, I've never made my hobby a job. She's a photographer, and, she's like, it's ironic because now I'm doing YouTube content, and she's like, yeah, photography is my hobby. And she's like, yeah, YouTube's kind of my job, but she's like, I've got the free will now to do as much or as little as I want. And it just really reinforced to me that it's like, I love what I do, but I'm glad that I don't necessarily get paid for it, because I think, like, for me personally, I remember when Ernie, rest in peace, years ago, he said that, at Mini Truckin', when he left his role there, he kind of was like, I love Mini Truckin', but it's weird that it was my job now, like I want to do it, but maybe I don't want to do it for work, right? And don't quote me on those exact words, but it was something along those lines. So anyways, at the end of the day, I'll sum it up and just say, look, dude, there's a lot of good people out there. You're one of them. And thanks for what you do, bro.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it 100%. And, I'm just tickled that we were able to finally link up,
yeah,
we're
buddy,
always, seeing each other at shows and stuff. So yeah, dude, Again, I appreciate everything that you do, and I appreciate everyone that listens and is in the scene. And it's just, man, I always tell, me and Dizzy always say, until it's no longer fun, we're going to keep doing it to the day we die.
I love it. Well, hey, GB, I'm going to have to get you a Green Bay Packers hat because, when I see GB, I think Green Bay. But in all seriousness, brother, if we can make it up, I'll do my best. I love the Greenville area. I would highly encourage people to check out Terminal Takeover, certainly if you can. And Glenn, it's been a pleasure. We got to do this more often, and you guys stay on the rise, my brother.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate it, man.